How I work 60 hours a week without burning out or hating my life as a Christian corporate savage. What's going on, you guys? My name's Ben. Welcome to the Faith and Fortune Academy channel. So if you're brand new to the channel, I'll just give you a quick background on me. My name's Ben. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I currently make over six figures by the grace of God. I went to my undergrad engineering degree, had that half paid off, half fully funded, and then a fully funded graduate degree in engineering. I got multiple offers from multiple different engineering programs. I was able to secure multiple full-time offers from over a bunch of different Fortune 500 companies. And my goal with this channel is to help Christian men navigate corporate America without losing their souls. So that's the whole point of this channel. And today's topic of today's video is something that I'm really excited to share with you guys about. It is working 60-hour weeks. So let's jump right in. Let's figure out what's this all about. So what are some of the benefits of working 60-hour weeks? Well, you get to pay off debt very, very quickly, right? So when I was working my full-time job and my part-time job, that was a way for me to really go into overdrive in terms of paying off debt. Some of that debt I got from my undergrad degree, some of it was like personal loans, things like that. I was able to pay this loan down very, very fast for having two different paychecks coming in every 2 weeks, right? So you think about that, that's 4 paychecks per month. That's pretty darn good. That really helped alleviate a lot of the mental stress that came from those finances. I got a ton of respect from my peers. I was known as the 60-hour week work guy at my church and even at my corporate office as well as my part-time job. Everybody knew, oh yeah, Ben's the guy who works 60-hour weeks. It gets you a lot of respect and a lot of glances from the girls too, so I'm not going to complain about that. It really helps the physical fitness. When you're constantly moving around, so my part-time job is very physical, it gives you that level of fitness that's really, really noticeable for other people to see. You start to grow, as you're handling these giant boxes and you're taking them and putting them down. It's really going to grow you, literally, physically, as well as mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all that good stuff, but mostly physically, because your body's going to adapt and grow to it, and you're going to really like the physique that you end up having. You don't have to pay for a gym membership. You basically get paid to work out. It's pretty awesome. And really the last thing is, it's sustainable for me. It was a very sustainable routine that I had going on. And with discipline and a proper end goal, it can be sustainable for you as well. So if you are going to work 60-hour weeks, what is the kind of work that you should pick? Well, the number one thing I always tell guys to look at is, what are the benefits that this job is offering you, right? So for example, if you go and work for a restaurant, you're going to get free food, usually, or heavily discounted food, what might have you, right? If you go work Chipotle, you might get a free bowl per shift or 50% off, whatever that might be. If you go work for a brand name clothing brand, you might get a discount off their clothing. So the number one thing I tell people is, hey, look at the benefits of that job and see, are those benefits that you would love to use that would bring a huge net positive to your life? One of my friends, a great friend of mine, he joined a gym, one of the fanciest gyms here in Atlanta, and he gets free gym memberships, right? That's $200. He's going to this amazing, fantastic gym, one of the nicest gyms in all of the city of Atlanta, and boom, he's able to go there completely free, completely paid for. That's amazing. That's incredible. I don't know about you, but I would love to take that deal. That's awesome. Another thing you want to look out for is, what type of job is this part-time job going to be for you? Is it going to be mostly a mental job where you're sitting at a computer, you can work, pretty much from anywhere, on a beach, what have you? Or does it require you to be somewhere on site where you're physically working the ground and you're doing stuff, right? Construction, for example, that's a very physical job. That's obviously something you can't really do remote. So that is another thing to keep in mind, is what is the type of work that you're doing there? Are the locations close? And does the timing overlap? Obviously, if you have two remote jobs, that's, it's not a concern. You just, switch laptops or whatever it might be. But yeah, if you have a full-time job working corporate or something like that, and then you have to drive somewhere to go to your part-time job, is that feasible? Have you mapped out the routine? Have you made sure that the hours themselves don't overlap? And the last thing I say is, and this is just a personal thing, I would not do night shifts. I don't care if they pay you more money. Every single person I've talked to, I have a lot of friends who do nursing, and everybody universally has said, do not do night shifts. It's not worth it. Yes, you might get paid a little bit more, but it will destroy your mental health and physical health faster than you can imagine. So unless unless there's no other way, there's no other work, and you have to pay your bills tomorrow, and you got, multiple kids you got to feed, I would avoid night shifts like the plague. Absolutely. You got to get your sleep. So why did I make Faith and Fortune Academy? So, it's a program that I made to help Christian men successfully navigate corporate America without losing their soul, right? A lot of the advice, I'll be honest, that's on YouTube tends to skew one of two ways. Either it's very surface level or it's very generic or outdated, like, hey, just, go in with your firm handshake, or, hey, just, go in and just apply nonstop to as many company boards, websites as you can without any thought for tailoring. And then on the other spectrum, you have unethical advice out there that's like, oh yeah, put in the bare minimum, don't care, screw the company over, steal their resources, all that stuff. The aim of this channel and the aim of the goal and everything that I do on this channel is to basically give you the mindset of Matthew 10:16, which is innocent as a dove, wise as a serpent. So the context of that verse, Jesus is sending out his disciples, and that's the mindset that he wants Christians to have, is you know how the world system works, that's where the wisdom comes in, and yet you don't participate in any of the evil. That's where the innocence part comes in. And so, guys, I've got over 11 years of experience. I've condensed it all down. I've actually made a program, top link in the description below. If you're interested in really leveling up your corporate career and really taking that to the next level, definitely check out that link below. I put a ton of great content in there. And otherwise, hey, feel free to keep watching a lot of the free content I've got posted on this channel. So, what are some systems for success that I use in order to work the 60-hour work week? The first thing I do is I document everything. So literally, I use OneNote as a little note-taking thing, and I will document every single process that I have to do, right? So if they're like, hey, Ben, we need you to update this query, it's like, okay, cool. I've got it mapped out step by step, like every single detail, not even kidding. I will literally say, okay, click on this link, and I'll post the link on there. Then from that link, I'll take screenshots, go to this next link, and then upload this file to this particular browser, and so on and so forth, right? That minimizes the amount of mental energy that I need to use as I'm thinking, and I can conserve the brain points there, right, the mental thoughts for later, and make sure that I have more energy throughout the day. So that really helps. Google Calendar. You want to map out everything that you do to the best of your ability, right? Spend some time the night before and plan out your day and say, hey, okay, cool. From this hour to this hour, I'm going to be at my main job. From here to here, I'm doing my part-time job. And then you start scheduling everything else, like social events, start scheduling birthdays, whatever it might be. And you just let yourself know and say, hey, this is when I'm going to be available. This is when I'm not going to be available. And staying organized, very critical, very crucial. You're going to have to learn how to say no. That is a skill you're going to get really, really good at. A lot of people are going to invite you to stuff, and you're just not going to be able to go to it. Or you're not going to be able to hang out and go get food with some people because, hey, you got to work that shift later that night. It might be a Saturday or a Sunday, and you got to work the evenings. So you got to get real good at saying no. That being said, though, the next point is not a contradiction. You should still build into friendship and community, right? You are not meant to be a lone wolf. God did not create us to be lone wolves. He created us for community. And that's the key. You got to be around friends, around ideally like-minded people who are going to support you and help you and push you through your goals, right? But you also want to have, ideally, a good church community and a good support system around you so you don't go completely insane as you're just working on nonstop. You're going to need to get plenty of sleep, all right? So 60 hours a week sounds like a lot, but if you think about it, you can still get plenty of time in for sleep. You just might have to sacrifice in other areas. But sleep is a non-negotiable. Try and get, of course, 7 to 8 hours, and sneak in naps too if you can. I don't want you falling asleep at the wheel late at night. Absolutely not. Get that sleep in. Make sure you get the sleep in as much as you can. Lifting and walking 10K steps, also critical. Being physically fit, right? When you're pushing your body and your mind, it is so important that you keep at it at the gym and that you're constantly moving around, right? Trust me, I wanted to create a lifestyle that was very hostile for fat gain and making sure that, I've got my physique, it's in place, but my cardio is also on point as well. So I will go for walks frequently. I will take breaks during lunch and just go for a walk outside, get some vitamin D. It's great. And finally, time with God. So here at Faith and Fortune Academy and in my own personal life, I've been a Christian now, I've been following Christ now since the 6th grade. So over a decade now of following Christ. That time with God is critical. It is critical for the mission, right? You cannot sit there and, work and just toil and stack all this money and, at the end of the day, what's it all for, right? So getting that alone time with God, getting that spiritual reset every single day is so important. It's also spending time in, again, church community as well with other believers, and really just, again, putting your burdens at the feet of Jesus and learning how to allow his power to really give you the rest that you need on a daily basis, right? So that's what I like to do. I spend some time in the Word. I listen to a good podcast or a good sermon on a particular passage, spend time with my Bible study group. I will do all of that, and I will spend that time with God so that I can get that spiritual reset. Because at the end of the day, if I'm just stacking money for the sake of stacking money, it's all vanity. It's all worthless. Stay tuned for that Bible study on Ecclesiastes. That's going to be really, really fun because it's one of my favorite books in the Bible. So what are some of the dangers of working the 60-hour work week? So I've been hyping it up now this whole time, but what are some of the risks of that? Well, as you can probably imagine, there's a huge risk there of physical burnout and injury. That's especially true if you're working a physical job. Even if you're working, let's say, a mental job, even if you're at a computer all day and you're just sitting down, that can also cause injuries. You might be sitting down too long. You might be just not moving as much, and that can let you be more prone to getting injured later down the line. Your social life will take a hit. It's going to happen, unless you can perfectly time Monday through Friday, in the mornings, and then you just take the rest of the hours on Saturday, but I haven't found a way to do that yet. Usually it's like, okay, you got to work weekday nights, and sometimes your friends want to go hang out and get boba or something random, or go play pickleball, what have you. Your social life's going to take a hit, so it's going to have to be a season of, again, just saying no. And going on with that, you're going to have to miss out on certain trips and social gatherings. I've had to turn down now multiple instances where friends were like, hey, Ben, let's go take a trip to Seattle, or let's go travel here. And I've had to say, no, sorry, I just don't have the PTO to do it. I don't have the time to be able to go there. And that's not fun. That's really not fun when you have to keep saying no to things. Our church actually just had a night market event that went on, and it was really fun. I saw the videos. I had some friends performing in it. It looked amazing, incredible, and I was watching it while I was at my part-time job. And that wasn't fun. That really wasn't fun. So, you're going to have to say no to those events. And the final thing is, sleep deprivation. Sleep is, again, critical for your health. It's literally when your body repairs itself. It's not good to be sleep deprived. So that's definitely something to take in consideration. So, with all of that being said, who should do the 60-hour work week? Who is this for? Ideally, this is for the 18 to 40-year-old man who is single. Okay, that's kind of like the dream demographic right there. It's anybody who's within that sort of age range. And I put these both for a reason. 18 to 40, you're young, you're a man, that's the great thing about guys is we have a very long timeline to really figure things out and get things done. And if you're single, I think it's a great idea too. Fill up that free time. You don't have a wife, you don't have kids yet. That is a great time to really build your financial engine, so to speak, and really get that to take off. If you start strong, you don't let up, you really build that engine up front, you can give yourself exponentially more opportunities later down the line. And I'm not just talking about, if you invest, whatever it is, $100 every month for the next 60 years, then eventually it'll be $1 million or whatever it might be. I'm talking about investing in yourself and your own personal development. And we'll get into that in future videos, but for now, I'll just leave it at that. So single, no kids. Again, it's just a lot of free time. Use that free time wisely. If you're under 30K and you're under the age of 30, right? So 30 and 30, just quick numbers there. I think it'd be great to work those extra hours. So if you're making from your main job, for example, it's under 30K and you're under the age of 30, getting that second job can really be beneficial for accelerating, whether it's debt payoff, stacking up savings, right? Having an extra financial cushion, and just starting to get back ahead and really get into it. Can be really, really good. Wanting to leave an inheritance to your children's children. So that's talked about in Proverbs 13:22. That's very important. If your grandchildren, right, your grandchildren are financially set and they're able to not have to worry about money, that's huge. That is huge. God designed us for work. And at the end of the day, yes, the fall happens and yes, sin enters the world and work becomes cursed as a result. But at the end of the day, there is still that element of joy that we get from working. And part of that joy is being able to provide for your family and ultimately the next generation. And you're going to be able to pay off that debt. Imagine not having to worry about your debt payoff anymore for the month because hey, I put in the work and now the money's coming in and this debt's going to be completely paid off very, very soon. So, having said all of that, guys, Faith and Fortune Academy. It's a program I've made to help Christian men successfully navigate corporate America without losing their soul. Again, I preach innocent as a dove, wise as a serpent like Christ did in Matthew 10:16. I've got over 11 years of experience condensed down into my program below. So if that's something you're interested in, please click on the video link below. Thanks all. I'll see you next time.